Hey, and welcome back to the very long-awaited Chapter 3 of Mango Space, which did not happen 2 weeks after I said I would. It happened more than 2 months after. I'm really sorry. You have no idea how bad I feel about that. I'm really sorry that it's taken this long. It's just that things got busy really quickly, as they often do, in November and December and January for me. So it's February now, so it's pretty much been like almost 3 months, I believe. So, yeah, we're just gonna continue from where we were off, and hopefully, I won't promise anything, but I will try my hardest to get the next chapters up quicker than last time, because like 2 months, oh my god, that's a long time to wait. I'm sorry I had to put you through that. How dare I? So, yeah, let's just pop into it, because you came here for the book, not me talking about how long it frickin' took. So, yeah, we're just gonna get into it. Chapter 3. I can't sleep. I toss, I turn. Mango tosses and turns with me. Had I misunderstood Billy? Was his mother right? Did he just make things up? After all, my name isn't even remotely purple and orange. The sun streams through the blinds and brings no answers, only more questions. Why does the only person in the world who might see things the way I do have to be 5 years old? Maybe everyone sees this way at 5, and I didn't outgrow it. Should I try to find Billy again? What would I say to his mother? All these feelings are rising inside my chest, like the foam on top of a shaken-up soda can. Bubble, bubble, gurgle. I give up on the idea of sleeping and decide to rescue my painting before anyone else wakes up. I completely forgot to ask Mom to stop last night on the way home from the market. The grass is still covered with dew, so I have to be careful not to slip. When I reach the cemetery, I stop short and sighed about a foot. I'm not alone. I forgot that Jenna and her father come every Wednesday morning. Right now they're talking to Mrs. Roth, whose family lives on the other side of the valley. The Roths have lived here since the 1800s, and half of the tombstones in the cemetery belong to their ancestors. They're the only Jewish family I know, and every year they invite the other families in the valley over to light the Hanukkah candles with them. Sometimes they'll call us to say that Mango is in their yard, so we don't worry about him. I think he has a crush on one of their female cats. Mrs. Roth steps away to wander among graves, stopping every few feet to put small rocks on top of her family's headstones. Jenna joins me at my grandfather's grave. She looks tired. Even her freckles look tired and pale. I saw your painting, she says. Interesting choice to leave it out in the rain. I look down at it and sigh. Colors have run together quite a bit, and Mango now looks more like a blob with eyes than a kitten. Grandpa's face is still surprisingly intact, although the canvas has creased around him. Serves me right, I say, picking up the painting carefully so it won't rip. I'll let the rain sneak up on me. Do you think you'll be able to fix it? She asks. I shake my head. I'm sure I'd be more upset about it if my mind wasn't so focused on meeting Billy last night. I have to force myself not to put out the whole story. It's a shame, Jenna says. You worked so hard on it. Looks like it was really good. She squints at it and asks, Is that a rat on your grandfather's shoulder? Why would I paint a rat on my grandfather's shoulder? How would I know? Maybe he liked rats. It's not a rat, Jenna. It's Mango as a kitten. Oh, she says, trying not to smile. Sorry about that. Poor Mango has been reduced to a rat. Good thing he isn't around to hear it. I have to run, I tell Jenna. My mother's dragging words are out of my mouth. I regret saying them. Not here at the cemetery. The last thing I want to do is remind Jenna of one more thing her mother can't do with her anymore. Why don't you come with us? I quickly add. She shoves her hands in her pockets and shakes her head. I'm going to spend the day with my dad. Our air conditioning is broken. I look over at Jenna's father, who's standing by his wife's grave. He is rocking back and forth on his heels, a Chicago Bears cap shielding his eyes. I don't know what to say now. We both stare at the ground. I should get back to him, Jenna says. I'll call you later. Hey, if you want to sleep over tonight, you can. I'll let you know. I watch her walk away. These visits are hard for her, no matter what she says, or doesn't say. I hurry back to the house thinking of all the things we keep from other people, even our best friends. School starts in a few days, and I'm trying to squeeze every last drop out of summer. Literally. I'm squeezing lemons for the lemonade stand Zach and I set up on our street corner. Why don't you just lose lemonade mix like everyone else? And into the pantry. She returns with a few sandwich bags and a magic marker. This is a quality establishment, Zach replies, carefully stirring in the sugar with a long spoon. What are the bags for? I ask as Beth lays them flat on the counter. Zach stops stirring to listen. If you must know, I'm sorting herbs for a big project I'm working on. Zach and I raise our eyebrows at each other. If you turn me into a frog, I'm telling Mom and Dad, Zach says, holding the spoon in front of him like a sword. Beth grunts and turns her back to us. We continue making lemonade and leave her to her sorcery. When we are alone again, I ask Zach, does the yellow of this lemon remind you of anything? Huh, like what? Oh, I don't know, like the letter A or the number 4? He stops mid-stir. What are you talking about? Never mind. He stares at me as if I'm crazy, but cuts the next lemon and starts squeezing. I just had to make sure. 3 hours later, we return to the kitchen. We're hot, sunburned, and only $4 richer. Mom reminds me we have to leave for Mango's vet appointment in 15 minutes. It takes 10 minutes just to find him hiding under my bed. He pretends not to understand me when I explain that the visit is only a routine checkup. I finally spray him with water, and he runs right into the cupboard cat carrier with the picture of a kitten and a spaceship on the side. He no longer gets sick in the car. Instead, he complains loudly the whole way into town. Each high-pitched meow sends sun-kissed orange coils dancing in front of me, but I don't mind. As my mother drives past the supermarket, I think of Billy again. Maybe I should go back to the store and ask the clerk if she remembers the Hinkle family. Would it do any good? The fact that he might be crazy doesn't make me any less crazy. The noise from the vet's crowded waiting room pours out into the street. As I push the glass door, a tiny dog with a pushed-in face yips at me in black streaks. 3 cats hiss for the relative safety of their cages. I put Mango's carrier on my lap to comfort him. He pokes his nose through one of the round holes on the top, and I pet it while we wait to be called. After signing in, Mom sits down next to me, her nose crinkling up at the smell that always fills the vet's waiting room. The front door opens, and a boy from school named Roger Carson walks in. He's leading a golden retriever on a tattered leash while his parents follow him behind. I don't know him very well, but all during grammar school, he wore 2 different colored socks. I glanced down at his feet. Both of his socks are white today. He doesn't notice me. He won't take his eyes off his dog. The dog's really old. It can barely hold up its head. The Carsons gather around their dog, petting it, not looking at any of us. I noticed that Roger and his parents and the dogs all have various shades of blonde hair. I've heard that pets often look like their owners. I glance at Mango and decide that 3 must not be true with cats, since my hair is neither gray nor white. In a flurry of activity, the vet's assistant comes out and ushers Roger's family into the examining room ahead of all the other people who are waiting. Roger's dad asks Roger if he's sure he wants to be here. Roger nods without lifting his head, and the door closes behind them. A minute later, I hear whimpering and a bright blue wail. The whimpering is the dog. The wail is Roger. "You said it wouldn't hurt him," he cries, loud enough for us to all hear. "But he's in pain. He's twitching. You said he'd just go to sleep and not feel anything." "He's only responding to the needle going in," Roger's father says, his deep voice coming through the wall. The vet adds something in a soothing voice, but I can't make out her words. Roger's sobs, however, are loud and clear, and as blue as a swimming pool. I hug Mango's box tighter, horrified. My breath catches in my throat. All the people in the waiting room draw their pets closer too. My mother reaches over and puts her hand on mine. I close my eyes. Spirits of dog heaven, I offer the soul of Roger's yellow dog, a good dog, and much loved. We sit without moving until Roger and his parents come out of the room, their faces wet and red and puffy. No dog. Roger clutches the empty leash in his chest in a tight ball. He notices me this time, and his eyes widen. I open my mouth to say something, but can't find the words. He gives me a small nod, like he knows I'm trying to say, "Oh my God." My throat feels all closed up. My mother and I don't talk much on the way home. Mango was very brave when he got his shots. The doctor seemed a little concerned that he was still wheezing. She gave me a new kind of medicine to give him each night to help strengthen his lungs. She warned me it might make him tired. That dog was very old, my mother says, breaking the silence between us, and probably very sick. I know, she says. On Monday, when the school bus pulls up in front of Harrison Middle School, I pray that the first day of school has been canceled because of an earthquake, tidal wave, or avalanche. I take any of them. I'm supposed to be one of the big shots this year. The 8th graders rule the school, but I don't want to rule anybody, and I definitely don't want to take pre-algebra and Spanish. Zach bounds down the steps of the bus, thrilled to be in middle school at last. It's supposed to be the reverse. I'm the one who's supposed to be excited to be in the highest grade, and Zach's the one who's supposed to be cowering in a seat. I glare at his back as I grudgingly follow him off the bus. Jenna and I stand at the bottom of the school steps, watching everyone check each other out. Maybe I should have paid more attention to my clothing selection. I glanced down at my white shorts and blue t-shirt. It might not be fancy, but at least everything's clean. And I did pull my hair back in a barrette. I'm surprised that Jenna is wearing a dress with tiny pink flowers on it. I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen her in a dress. Her sandals even have small heels on them. The same old school, the same old faces, Jenna says with a sigh. We watch the two cheerleaders run up to each other and embrace with a squeal. Jenna shakes her head. I really don't think they need to wear their cheerleading outfits on the first day of school. I mean, it's not like they have a game yet. School spirit and all that, I tell her as we make our way through the crowd and into the school. I forgot about your cheerleader phobia. I don't have cheerleader phobia, she insists. I just think the whole concept is sexist and stupid. I agree with her. At the moment, two boys from our grade run by, hitching up their jeans as they pass us. Did you see the new cheerleader? One of them says to the other. She is H-O-T, hot. Jenna opens her mouth to respond, but the boys are already down the hall. What could she say anyway? I hate school, Jenna grumbles as we arrive at her locker. I like this girl, 'cause I hate it too. No, you don't. Well, at least I hate the first day of school. Everyone's trying to impress everyone else. Is that why you're wearing a dress? Is it that bad? She asks, smoothing her skirt. No, it's nice, I tell her. I just haven't seen it before. My father bought it for me, Jenna says, tossing her bag lounge into their locker. You know, as a first day of school thing, I brought shorts and a t-shirt to change into. No, you should keep it on, I tell her as the warning bell rings. And don't go into lunch without me. Do I ever? She calls out, hurrying down the hall in her room to her own. Do I ever? She calls out, hurrying down the hall to her homeroom. My first class after homeroom is American history. History is one of my favorite subjects because I'm good at it. Once I learn the date of a certain event, I can easily remember it by its colors. I remember names the same way. I'd heard rumors about the serious strangeness of Mrs. Morris, the American history teacher, and I can now say that those rumors are fact. She has a bizarre fear of germs, and as soon as she walks in, she lays down the law. First she stands by the blackboard and peers at us over her bifocals. Then she says, Everyone in the front row of desks, pick up your book and move to the back. You are to leave the front row empty. The kids in the front row follow her orders, one boy grumbling under his breath that he didn't have cooties the last time he checked. Mrs. Morris then moves over to her desk and points to 2 wire baskets. You are to make 2 separate piles of homework each day. If you have a cold, you are to place your homework in the pile marked ill. You are to wash your hands before class with soap. This may sound extreme, but cleanliness is next to godliness. The worst thing about her speech is that her voice is so high-pitched and squeaky that rust-colored spirals rain down behind her. My next class is English. I like my English teacher, Mr. Sidler. Right away. I like my English teacher, Mr. Sidler. Sidler? No. Right away. This is his first year teaching, and he seems pretty nervous. Michelle, the girl who sits behind me, whose father owns the biggest hardware store in town, cracks her gum in my ear. While the teacher is digging through his drawers to find the attendance list, she taps my shoulder and shows me a book on her desk. All I can make out are the words English class written on the brown bag book cover. Did we have summer reading assignment? I asked. Worried. She shakes her head and grins slyly. It's not a school book, she whispers. It's a dirty book. I put the cover on to fool people. Relieved, I say, How nice for you, and turn back around in my seat. Note to self, don't ask Michelle to be a study partner. The teacher has us all file up to his desk to pick up the first book on our reading list, Lord of the Flies. Just read that this year. Why he'd want us to read a book about flies is beyond me. Well, it's not about flies. Spoiler. At lunch, a group of boys dare each other to eat the most disgusting combination of cafeteria food. After that, one of them swallows a dime and has to be taken to the school's nurse. Jenna and I sit with the same group of girls we've been eating with since 4th grade. Kimberly and Molly, who are best friends, but very competitive with each other, and Sarah, who is quiet and very serious. As usual, Sarah already has her nose buried in a book when we sit down. Kimberly is talking about how she got moved into the honors math class, and how next year in high school, she's going to be head of all the other 9th graders. I glance at Molly to see if she's going to counter that with anything, and I'm surprised to notice that she was busy over the summer growing breasts. Her tight tank top tells me she has no plans to hide them either. I see Jenna staring too. Molly stands up to find a straw, and I swear at least one boy from each table looks up as she passes. Kimberly sticks out her pointy chin and doesn't look away. Sarah has an amused little smile on her face. I watch Molly stroll through the maze of tables, but I'm viewing her through a jumble of colors that come together like lumpy oatmeal. The voices and laughters of 100 kids and various CD players echo off the linoleum walls, I don't know how you say that, I'm sorry, and fill the air with a collage of colors. It makes it hard to relax and talk to my friends, but the only other option is to sit outside alone, and I don't want to do that either. After lunch, I walk with Sarah to a pre-algebra class. I have to hurry to keep up with her. Hey Sarah, wouldn't it be fun if for every 2 steps we took one backward? She doesn't slow her pace even a tiny bit. Why do we do that? She asked. Then we'd be late. Honestly, Mia, you only have one chance to make the first impression. Who says things like that? I slow down, but she keeps up her breakneck speed. I make it to class right before the bell rings, and the teacher's already writing an equation on the board. I'm sunk already. I just can't grasp how to solve it. Normally an X is a shiny maroon color like a ripe cherry, but here an X has to stand for an unknown number. But I can't make myself assign the X any other color than maroon, and there are no maroon-colored numbers. Without the color, I don't know how to proceed. I'm lost in shades of gray and want to scream in frustration. I pretend to work on the problem in my notebook. All I wrote is X equals help, while all over the room hands showed up to give the answer. That all too familiar combination of confusion and anger is starting to bubble up inside me again. Gurgle, bubble, sputter. Spanish class isn't any better. I try to match the colors of the English words to the new Spanish words. Hola and hello and hola work fine. Mother and madre is a bit of a stretch, but it's close enough that I can remember it. Boy and chico doesn't work at all. Neither does girl and chica. Good and bueno, adios and goodbye to the honor roll. At least I know that one. The only good part of the day is my last class. As soon as I walk into the art room and pick a stool at one of the work tables, I feel like I'm home. All of the art students had to be approved by the teacher before they could get into the class. Just like last year and the year before, the same kids always make it. While I'm looking around the room, a young woman walks in carrying a huge pile of books in her arms. She tells us to call her Karen. Just Karen. A smooth, plum-colored name with little yellow specks. It takes me a minute to figure out she's the teacher. The girl next to me raises her hand, and Karen looks up from passing out the books. What happened to Mrs. Simpson? She asked attentively. I am wondering the same thing. Mrs. Simpson had been the art teacher for something like 30 years. Karen looks around and then says with a sigh, Mrs. Simpson went on to a better place. She died? The girl exclaims in horror. The class emits a collective gasp. I grab onto the edge of the table. Karen shakes her head. No, she went to the high school. She teaches there now. My teaching methods are a little different from hers, but I have a feeling you'll enjoy yourselves. Now everyone lets out a sigh of relief. I think Mrs. Simpson will be happier at the high school. She was always muttering about middle school hormones running amok, although I would think high school hormones were even worse. Karen tells us to look through the new art book and pick an artist whose style we want to imitate. She says we'll learn a lot about our own style by studying others. I'd like to think I have a style already, but I guess it couldn't hurt to study someone else's. I flip through the pages, but nothing jumps out at me. When school is over, I meet Jenna at her locker, the same as I've done every day after school since we were old enough to have lockers. She's still in the dress, but she's wearing her sneakers from Jen instead of the sandals. This has got to go, she says. In one motion, she rips out the poster that has been inside her locker door for 2 years. Boy bands are so over. What was I thinking? We pass my history classroom, and Jenna ducks in and throws the crumpled poster in the garbage can. A plan forms in my head. I lean close and whisper in her ear, Pick mission? She nods and awaits instructions. You wait here at the door, I tell her. Drop your book back if someone's coming. Okay, but hurry. I don't want to miss the bus on the first day of school. I look both ways, dash into the room, and head straight for the teacher's desk. In one swift maneuver, I switch the sick and healthy baskets. Mission accomplished, I announce upon my return. We turn and run outside to where the buses pick us up. We figure out which is ours, and Jenna gets out first. When I reach the top stair, I hear a small voice yell out, Hi, Mia! I turn around in time to see Billy Henkel waving excitedly from the window of a passing car. He must have an older brother or sister in middle school. He must have an older brother or sister in middle school. By the time I collect my senses to wave back, the bus driver has shut the door behind me. Jenna picks a seat in the back, and I slide in after her. I have a hard time paying attention to what she's saying. It would be easier to pretend I never met Billy, and to forget about my colors. As the bus rolls out into the country, I decide to try. I'm going to be normal. I'm going to be so normal that when people look up normal in the dictionary, my name will be there. Anyway, that was chapter 3 of A Mango Shaped Space by Wendy Mass. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you thought it was worth waiting 2 months or more, I don't know, just for this chapter. But I do plan to record some other chapters soon and upload those. It just does take me a while to go through the footage and like correct anything, so yeah, I usually only do one in like a few hours or something. So like once every week or 2 weeks or something, I'll try to do that. Or maybe even a few days if I'm up to it, because I'm not very busy right now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and leave any comments you liked about this book. I love discussing books, so feel free, because I've read this book a few times. Also, leave any book suggestions that you think I might enjoy doing, or others might enjoy. Thanks for listening, and I will read to you next time. Linoleum. Linoleum. Linoleum.